welcome to the Dudeist Journey podcast. I'm your host, the Reverend Phillip K. Or just Reverend Phillip. I'm tempting to go by that. It's a little bit easier these days. I want to start off by saying that Dudeism is not so much religion, but more a philosophy. That philosophy is the art of peace, or modern-day Taoism. As there is an art of war, there is an art of peace, and that's what we try to practice here. Even if life is crazy and you just fucking pissed off and stressed the fuck out, we're going to try and be peaceful here. That's what we're going to try to do. Now, before we get started, I'd like to make a few quick announcements, which is the reason I started this podcast was because I lost my little brother in 2020, and then in 22, I lost my wife to cancer. I say this because you understand if I make references and talk about certain things, you kind of know where we're at and what's going on. You can listen to them past episodes if you could. Try and help. I'm still trying to qualify for for my own like ads and stuff, and they're still not like, sorry, you don't have enough listeners. You should post more often. And I'm like, look, bitches. When I do a post, let's say I talk about patience, right? Or let's say I remember I did a post about like the history of Easter or the history of Halloween. I can only do that once. It's like there's only so many times I can talk about the history of fucking Halloween, all right? It's like you got to just go back to that friggin' episode, please, okay? So I'm still fucking dealing with their bullshit on the whole ads and everything. But I have been, whoo boy, okay, so where the fuck have I been the past fucking month? Well, let me tell you what happened. Well, first my little kid got sick, my youngest. She's throwing up all over the place. Not fun. And then the next following week, I got sick, and I'm throwing up all over the place. Oh, man. It was not fun. Like, I mean, I just had to have that second plate of spaghetti, and it just all came poured out. Oh, God, man, it freaking sucked. So I was dealing with that, and then I'm remodeling my bathroom. Hey, look, I've tried calling contractors and everything, and it didn't work out, so I'm doing it on my own, at my own pace. But the problem is, it's been like a fucking year, because I injured myself while working. I switched out the bathtub plan that I had, like, just all kinds of stuff, and shit. And I've just been learning shit up. Like, why are there, like, different tiles? Like, I have ceramic tiles and porcelain tiles. I didn't realize there was a difference, and they're like, oh, yeah, like, the grout you get has to be different, and the mortar, and da-da-da. Or you find a grout that can work with either or, and all this shit. Some of you probably have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. It's just because, like, okay, so the mortar is the stuff that sticks the tile to the floor or the wall, and the grout is the stuff that goes in between the tiles. Okay, so the guys who built my house used some fucked up mortar and some fucked up grout, and I'm trying to fix it. I found black mold in my walls of my shower, and so I'm redoing the shower right now. I got to use my kid's shower, which isn't fucking fun. But what the fuck ever. I don't mind taking a bath while a stuffed, poppy stares at my balls. Whatever. It's just, I cannot wait to have my fucking shower back, and I'm working on it. But yeah, as things have come into this new year, it's just kind of smacked me around. And then I had to stop work on my bathroom because, okay, so I have this old SUV, this RAV4. And it was the first new car that my late wife and I bought. So it's kind of sentimental. I've had the car for damn near almost 20 years. And a family member who needed a vehicle that was reliable inquired about it. Now, here's the thing. They didn't talk to me. They talked to my father-in-law. And then, because this is my sister-in-law who wants the car, and her boyfriend started talking to my father-in-law about the car and how they're going to fix it up and what they're going to do and blah, 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 blah. They made all these plans about the fucking vehicle, but never bothered to tell my white ass for whatever fucking reason. So when my sister-in-law kind of found out that I didn't know anything, she's like, forget it, we're not going to take the car. And that caused a big old uproar of bullshit. And finally, I was like, look, you can have the car, it's just that you got to fix it up. It has issues. And they were thinking like, well, we'll just drive the car to California and then fix it there. And I'm like, you're not going to drive this car halfway. It's not going to make it halfway across the country, okay? There's fucking problems with the goddamn car, okay? Now, my father-in-law and this new boyfriend are supposed to fix it, but that didn't fucking happen because the new boyfriend got thrown in jail. I won't go into that fucking story. And then my father-in-law broke his back picking up like spare wood he found on the side of the road. You heard that shit correctly. So they're trying to move, and there's no one to fix the car except for me. So I had to stop what I was fucking doing and all the work I was working on, and I had to go fix the fucking car. And I had to do a number of things. It needed new shocks. It needed a new valve gasket. It needed a new battery, air filter. Just a list of shit. They needed a trailer hitch to haul stuff, so I had to fucking go and put in a brand new fucking trailer hitch on the back, which required wiring. I was able to get the wiring done at U-Haul, thank God. But it was just, I mean, it was a fucking mess just dealing with everything. But I got it up, got it running. I got the tires rotated and balanced and got everything set. But the thing is, the car still needs some stuff. It still needs struts. It still needs a tune-up. It still needs a radiator flush. But they said, but that is stuff that you can kind of get away with until you get to where you're going. But yeah, it was just kind of tough because I had sentimental value there in that car. Like I said, it was the first brand new car that my late wife and I bought. And I had always worked on it and fixed it because labor is one of your biggest expenses when you're fixing things. So, like, for instance, like the valve gasket at the top needed to be replaced. You might wonder what the fuck I'm talking about. Well, basically, your engine has this sort of like can, I guess I'll call it, or just like it has a lid that's over your valves, okay? That's moving your engine, all right? And that's where all your oil is and shit, okay? Now, it has a gasket, a rubber seal around it that keeps the oil from coming out. Well, when that gasket breaks, oil starts to come out and spill all over the engine, and you gotta, fix it. So, I went to the auto shop and was like, how much does it cost to fix this gasket? And they said it was $650 to fix it. I look online, the part is $35. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You want to charge me $650 for a $35 part? Fuck you. So this is one of the reasons why I always worked on the car. I literally saved thousands and thousands of dollars over the years by just doing the work myself. The oil changes, the batteries, the brakes, whatever. I've done shocks and struts too. I've done serpentine belts and alternators. I mean, all the major parts of the car I've fixed and I've done it. So it was just kind of sad to see it go, But I'm glad it's going to a good home, someone who needs it, someone who can use it, all that kind of good stuff. Now, if you heard one of my last episodes, I made this, I talked about how I'm not really like dating this year. I'm not trying to date. And I talked about how I got dumped on Father's Day. And a buddy of mine was like, what, like, can you like specify like what happened? And I was like, okay, so let me tell you the story. So I had this lady friend and she lived in another state. So, long distance relationship. And we, had an agreement that like if you meet someone else and it gets serious, let the other person know and, they'll take a step back. So it was, what was it? It was her birthday was coming up, right? Which happens to be near Father's Day. And so I text her and I say, like, hey, gorgeous, you want me to like, send you some flowers or get something on your Amazon wish list for your birthday? And she texted back, I'm good on flowers. I've met someone else and it's gotten serious. Happy Father's Day. And my friend thought it was a little cold, and I was like, you know what? I actually kind of respect her because there was nothing but truth in that fucking text. I mean, it's a fucking roller coaster of a text, but but she stuck to the truth. She stuck to the truth and stuck to the points and got straight to it. Okay, I got to respect that on a certain level. But I just thought, wouldn't that be like one of the shittiest greeting cards on the planet? Like, you look at the card and it says, I don't need flowers. I've met someone else and it's gotten serious. You open it up, Happy Father's Day. Like, fucking. I mean, that's pretty much what it was, man. I mean, can you imagine that? You imagine getting a card that says, I don't need anything. By the way, I've been having sex with your brother for the past 6 months. Open it up. Happy Thanksgiving. Like, like, like this is just like the fucking, like just straight, like gut to the fucking heart. I mean, but once again, like I said, I have nothing against her. Absolutely not. But I just can't help but fucking laugh at that goddamn text message. It's just too funny. Oh, God. You gotta love that shit, man. You gotta love that shit. So I've been dealing with just a lot of the like ups and downs kind of thing, man. And I'm trying to get back in shape. Um, I will be at a convention here coming up. I was just at the Texoma convention in Durant, Oklahoma. It was the Choctaw Event Center, which is next to the Choctaw Casino. And I went out there with my Ghostbusters group, the North Texas Ghostbusters. I got to go out there and, like, raise money and stuff and everything. And I got to raise money for it, like charity and stuff. I think it was a Toby Keith charity or something like that. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. But it's like, it was cool getting out there and seeing friends and just having a good time. It was cool. But this next convention is called the All Con, which is like everything kind of thrown into one. And it happens it's near the Dallas area. And this is my first year actually getting a table. I've been encouraged to get a table at All Con in the past. I never did it. And then finally I was like, you know what? There's a table open. I'm just going to snag it. Me and my buddy don't really have any conventions booked until convention season, which starts in like from May to August. So I'm thinking this is just a little con. We can go out, sell some things, and maybe establish a new setup here. Try and sell a couple of things, man, because sales ain't been great. All right, trying to get things up and going again. So if you guys want. If you want to actually see me, I'll be at AllCon. Now, I'm not going to be there the whole time because I didn't know this, but AllCon goes from Thursday to Sunday. I did not know that. I thought it was the usual Friday to Sunday thing. It's not. So, motherfucker. So I've got to, I'm like, okay, well, what are the hours? Because during the week, I got to be here for my kids, so I have to be home by 3 p.m. And they're like, well, that's when we open on Thursday. What the fuck, All Con? Jesus Christ. So I'm trying to get my buddy, my friend Delphine, who I do these cons with, I'm trying to get him to come. Like, could he come and run the table? Because I'm like, hey, I can set up and get things ready, but I can't stay from 3 to 7. I've got kids, so I'm hoping he'll be able to do it. But he's working on this. He works for AT&T, and he's building shit for them. And I don't know. Hopefully we'll be able to kind of get things going and see how it all works out. But in this particular episode, now I've talked about Alcoholics Anonymous before, which uses a 12-step program. Now, I went ahead and I actually had a family member who requested some funds from the church because the Dudeist Journey here is an actual online ministry. That's what you're listening to. We have tax-exempt status. We are, in fact, a nonprofit organization, a religious one, technically, quote-unquote. And so we were able to rake up some funds for her to go to this sort of seminar where they discussed 12-step programs. And this one in particular was about eating disorders, because apparently they've taken the 12-step program and they've used it for other disorders like anxiety or anger, or in this case, it was eating disorders. Now, it was like a 3-day thing that she went to. And so we were able to get her some funds so she could go. Now, she talks about this. It's kind of interesting. It's this. So she's like, okay, so Friday night is when it starts. The whole event is centered around eating disorders, overeaters, binge eaters, compulsive, anorexic, bulimic. But she said the majority of people at this little event was it was all older women. She's like, I don't know why, but it was just a lot of elderly women, right? Now, at first they're trying to celebrate the good times and life and everything, so they're throwing around beach balls in the crowd, right? Now my sister's got anxiety, and so she was like, "Oh Jesus Christ, this is gonna kill me," right? But sure enough, she even got hit by one, one of the beach balls during the whole thing. Oh, it was fucking hilarious. But she's like, what was kind of crazy was that first night. And she tells me that they had this presenter who was a very sassy man, as she put it. And this fucker did one of those, look under your chair for a prize bullshit, right? Okay, but the thing is I guess, everyone thought that there would be a prize under their chair. So people reached under their chair, and once again, we're talking about elderly folks. So they just grabbed whatever was under the chair. Like, you know how they've got that felt under those rental chairs is felt and a sticker, right? People were ripping that shit off. These old people just started ripping the stickers and the felt and stuff under the chair and being like, what's this? Is this the prize? Right? And it turned out that there was only one chair that actually had something under it. So all these people just fucked up and ripped up the goddamn rental chairs. I hope they get their deposit back. But it was just fucking hilarious. She was just like, all the chairs got ripped up for this stupid ass thing. And of course, the presenter, this sassy man's like, oh, this didn't work out like I planned at all. Hilarious. Oh, man. Now, 12-step programs have been used to help assist people with their problems, individuals who need to stop certain destructive behaviors. So they've used it. Now, the problem with some people have with 12 steps is that there's an emphasis on God. Okay? Turning things over to a higher power. But they've kind of changed it around to kind of make things a little bit more interesting or just, more accepting for people who aren't very religious or spiritual or what have you. So, went ahead and she went ahead and gave me a ton of information about everything having to do with 12-step programs. And once again, this is particularly for eating disorders, but this is one thing. This is a system that people use to help them in their daily lives. And I thought, why not here on the Dudeist Journey podcast, we look at different religions and philosophies and sciences, and we try to figure out the connections and see what we can use to help. And I thought, why not go ahead and we'll take a look at this and see how this can help us out, man. All right, so this is the 12 steps here. And they've got these principles behind each one. So the first principle is honesty, okay? It's that whole first step, admit you have a problem, okay? You can't fix the problem if you can't recognize and see it, all right? You have to admit that there's something going on, that you've got a certain issue, okay? Me, I'm depressed as fuck, okay? I lost my wife to cancer. We met in high school. We got married just before we turned 20. 25 years. I mean, altogether, between marriage and dating, we were together for 25 years. I had a woman who loved me despite the fact that I didn't have not 2 cents in my fucking pocket. And she loved me unconditionally for 25 years. Now, I know some guys, shit, they haven't even had a year of that, let alone 25. So I know that I am lucky here, but I also know that I'm broken, man. I mean, the love of your life dies in your arms. You don't just fucking get over that. And so, yeah, man, I'm broken. And it's kind of hard to go out there to the dating world when you're broken, because people don't buy broken things. They don't get broken things. If you go shopping and you're shopping for plates and there's a plate that's broken, you're not going to fucking buy it. You're going to wait for someone else to throw it away. So that's how I kind of feel. I kind of feel like the broken plate. And so yeah, no, I totally admit I've got a problem. I'm drowning in grief, dealing with shit and just trying not to stress the fuck out, blow my top kind of thing. So I have a problem, and that's the first step of every 12 step is admit you have a problem. Okay, yeah, we can do that. We can totally do that. And I hope you can. Sometimes it's tough for people, but you got to do it, man. It's the first and most important step. All right, so that brings us into the second step. So you figure out you got a problem, right? Okay. So it goes to the second step, which is hope. Okay. The second step is hope. All right. It's believing that there's help out there for yourself. All right. That you can find help. Now, some people say it's like a higher power, but we can talk about psychological help. We can talk about physical health, mental health. We can go into your diet. Are you eating? Are you exercising? I know I'm exercising more because I'm going to this Alcon thing, and my buddy who I go with, he dresses up like Deadpool. But that's because he's like a fucking bodybuilder, and he's all lean and shit. Motherfucker only has like meat and veggies in his fucking fridge, and he's only got rice and protein powder in his fucking cupboard. Like, when I opened up, like, I was looking for some snacks, I thought he was the poorest motherfucker on the planet. I'm like, do you need groceries? I will get you groceries, cracker. I will go to the Walmart and get you groceries. And he goes, no, I'm on this special diet, and this is what I do. And I'm like, this is nuts. You ain't got no peanuts. You ain't got no apples and bananas and fucking chips. You ain't got shit up in this bitch. Like, fuck this. So he's dressing up like Deadpool. He wants me to dress up like Wolverine. Now, last year, I got a costume. I got a full Wolverine costume. It cost me like $300 fucking dollars. And I got this Wolverine costume because the movie was coming out, and he wanted to do a pairing. So I get the costume, I come over, I try it on, we zip it up and everything. It's a bit snug, of course, because it's a fucking superhero costume, and this is why I hate doing cosplay as a superhero. As a Ghostbuster, you wear your clothes, and then you wear a baggy flight suit over it. It's the most comfortable shit in the fucking world. Superhero costumes are tight as balls, man. They are fucking hell, hot as hell. Your whole, like, you got a swamp going down in your crotch area. It's just fucking terrible. Like, I hate superhero costumes. But I was going to wear this so we could do this fucking cosplay. And then the day of the con, I come over to his place to get dressed, and the zippers on the costume break. Don't ask me why. I'm like, fuck. I lost weight since the first time I put it on. What the fuck happened? So I couldn't cosplay. He went ahead, and I was like his handler. Now, at this All-Con, he wants me to do the Wolverine costume. So now, I'm lifting weights every single motherfucking day. I'm doing exercises every single day. I'm doing high-protein diets and fucking protein shakes and the whole fucking nine. And I'm cutting down as much weight as I fucking can so I can squeeze into that tight-ass fucking costume and do this shit. Also, just for the whole reason is just to get people to the table, so hopefully they'll buy a few things. The shit you do for money, man. Fuck. But I mean, hey, it beats up dressing like a fucking chicken and passing out flyers in front of some place. Can't be too pissed. So, yeah, you gotta have hope, man. You gotta have hope and belief that you're gonna get over things and that, I'm gonna fit into this fucking Wolverine costume. So, yeah. I didn't mean to go off there. Sorry, it was just fucking, I hate superhero costumes. I love cosplay, but I fucking hate superhero costumes. All right, so now that you admit you have a problem, you're honest about it, you got some hope, you're going to go out there and get some help, comes to the third step, which is faith. Now, again, people lay this onto the higher power, like turn your life over to God, but they also say it's faith that you have made the decision to turn your life over to fixing yourself. Okay, so you could say it as turning life over to God or turning your life over to fixing you. Have faith in yourself that you can fix yourself, that you can do this shit, man. Because if you don't have faith, ain't no one else gonna have faith, brother. Not at all. So, that's a good one there to have. It's a good one there to know, okay? Brings us down to the fourth step, which is courage. What am I talking about there on the card? Well, the thing is, you have to conduct a personal inventory of your behaviors, okay? All right? Because that's the thing, whether this is anxiety or it's alcoholism or drug addiction or eating disorders or whatever it is, okay? You got to have the courage to actually take a look and say, okay, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I doing this, man? You know, what's going on? And me, I know, like, someone hit me on the head. I was like, I don't understand why it is I keep kind of attracting these women who are not really emotionally available. And someone said to me, probably because you're not emotionally available. And that hit me like a fucking ton of bricks. Because I'll admit, I'm not. I'm real depressed. I got problems. I got issues, man. And so I have to go through my destructive behaviors and throw them out. Like, now that I'm working out and exercising more, I'm tired more. I actually do want to sleep and get some fucking rest. Whereas beforehand, I was like insomniac crazy. I fucking hate insomnia. It sucks. It's there. It exists. I get it. It's a bitch and I don't like it. So I've got to take a personal inventory of the behaviors that are preventing me from going out and having a more fulfilling life or fulfilling relationship. So that's a good thing, man, is to have that. Take a good look at yourself and be honest, okay? Just like in that first step, you got to be honest, okay? So you have some honesty, got a little bit of hope, some faith you can do it, some courage to get it on, which goes down to your fifth step, which is integrity. What do I mean by that? You've got to admit the natures of your wrongs, dude. You got to admit that some of this behavior that you're diving into is destructive. It's not helping, man. You got to admit this. You got to admit when you're wrong, and some people don't like to do this because, you know, they feel like, oh, I'm admitting that I made a mistake and I was stupid. And it's like, motherfucker, we all make mistakes and we're all stupid. That's the nature of life. That's how it is. It sucks, but that's how it is. So you just have to step on this, all right? You've got to admit, okay, yeah, I've been engaging in some behaviors that have not been helping me, all right? I've been doing some shit that's wrong. I've wronged some folks. Got to make it right, man. Have a bit of integrity. Integrity. Mm-hmm. If you're watching South Park, it's integrity. Now, this goes down into the sixth step on this, which is your willingness, okay? You got it. Once you've admitted that you got these bad behaviors, all right? All right, we've conducted the inventory. We know we got some bad behaviors. We know we've done wrong. So now that leads into the willingness, which means to be ready to remove the destructive behaviors, okay? You got to be willing to make some changes. You want something you never had, you're going to have to do something you never done, okay? Me, I always want to be one of those, just like any guy, I want to be all fit and in shape. Well, if you want that fucking kind of body, but motherfucker, you're going to have to change your diet, and you're going to have to change your exercise regimen, and you're going to have to start doing shit you didn't do before. And if you want to have this certain relationship, then you've got to do different from what you're doing now. You got to change it up, okay? So you got to remove this. And some of those destructive behaviors, not just, like I said, whether you're drinking or you're self-isolating or whatever the case is, you have to be willing to be like, okay, I've got to change here. I've got to change how I'm doing it. I've got to change the behaviors, which is a bit, it's going to be a little off. It's going to be a little tough, but it's going to take time. It's a practice. You got to practice this, okay? Just like when we talked about, like, if you want patience, you got to practice patience. You're not just going to, boom, I got patience. No, it takes time. You got to work on it. You got to build it, okay? You can do this, all right? You can do this. I believe in you. Now, one thing that is going to help, which is in the seventh step of this, which is humility, all right? You need to try to install practices that eliminate those destructive behaviors, okay? All right, and you got to be a little humble here about this. I mean, it's you're changing your routine, you're changing things about yourself. You're going into that new chapter, you're going into the new way. And so you just have to have a little bit of humility, just like, you know what? Hey, I was wrong. I have a problem. I got to change my ways, man. And I got to start doing things different. I got to start practicing. Once again, practicing, right? That takes time. It takes daily, right? Daily practice here. And it's going to be a while for you to eliminate the destructive behaviors. One destructive behavior I know a lot of people have is that they're really hard on themselves. I'm too fat, I'm too ugly, I'm too stupid, I'm too whatever it is. I'm like, buddy, have you seen some of the people that, like, run for office? Like, just like, quit being so hard on yourself. You seen some of the, the people out there in the movies and the music business and everything else? It's like, fucker, you got a shot, okay? You got a shot, all right? I believe in you. Okay? Believe in yourself too. Now, this brings so doing all this brings us into an eighth step as we're installing these practices. The eighth step is known as self-discipline, okay? Right? So if you got to do something you haven't done before and it's going to take some time and practice, you got to have self-discipline. You can't gain anything without discipline. You can't learn things, you can't make your money, you can't take care of your kids or your house or yourself unless there's some kind of discipline there, right? You got to have self-discipline. And any parents out there, you know what I'm talking about, man, because I got kids. I swear to God, I must say no 1,000 times a fucking day to my kids. I swear to God. Can we go to Disneyland? No, we fucking can't. Can we have ice cream for breakfast? No, you fucking can't. Can we stay up later? No, you can't. Can we watch this horror movie with blood? No, 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 motherfucker, no. And you think that, like, one no would take it? Oh, fuck no. You got to say no because they going to ask 25 motherfucking times, especially if you got younger kids, like under 10. Holy fuck, these assholes. They just do not stop. They keep asking the same shit over and over and over and over. And you tell them no, and you try to be nice at first, just like you know, civil people. But I mean, if you get to a point where it was like, look, motherfucker, I said no. That's it. Quit fucking asking. You ask again, I'm gonna whoop your ass and throw you in bed. I'm tired of this shit. No. No. No means no. Get on it, man. Get on it. So you got to have discipline, man. You got to have discipline. It's very important there. Now, the ninth step in the 12-step program that you should know, this is going to be a tough one, it's love, okay? Love is hard because, well, for some of us, it's easy to love others, but to love ourselves, ooh, it's tough. It's one of the things I remember talking about in forgiveness is like, forgive yourself. My little brother passed away. He died of an overdose. When he was young, he got hurt at work, and the doctors gave him Oxycontin, and shit went downhill from there. In and out of jail, in and out of rehab. Every one of my family, every one of his friends, we all gave him a place to stay. We all gave him money. We all gave him food. We all gave him clothes and presents. We did everything we could to help him kind of get back on his feet or get sober, and it just never lasted. It never worked. It was really tough. Now, I know after my little brother died and we got the news, a lot of people, a lot of members of my family, we were just like, did we do enough? Could we have done more? Could we, you know, you really start questioning that. And I look back and I'm like, dude, we did everything we could. I mean, we're not gods. We're not freaking magic. It's you know, we're human. We're limited. We don't have a magic wand. And so I told everyone, look, while we're all forgiving my little brother Jacob, while we're all forgiving Jacob for the wrongs that he's had, because he stole from me, he stole from my parents, he stole from my siblings, he stole from his, I mean, he was full-blown addict, man. All he cared about was that high. So I especially hate the makers of Oxycontin. But I just told them, like, while we're forgiving him, we need to forgive ourselves. You did what you could. You know? And it's really tough accepting those limitations. But this is all a path of love here, okay? It's to make amends with those that you've harmed. Just kind of like what we talked about, like admitting the nature of your wrongs in step 5. Step 9 is about making those amends. And so if you've wronged someone in the course of your life and you're trying to fix things now, especially in certain particular areas, this is the step to do it. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. Because I've seen people who were addicts who got sober and got clean. They burned a lot of fucking bridges. And they know that it's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to repair this. But I always tell them, look, an apology is never wasted. Because that helps. Just that apology can help mend the bridge. You might never fix the bridge. You might never be friends again. But at least you did the right thing. I always do a deal of like encouraging people to forgive, but I also understand that some people, they can't. I mean, the fact of not forgiving like helps them to be, you know, keep the guard up and help them be a stronger person, you know, so I get it. But just you do have to let it go, because if you're constantly staring at the past, and believe me, I mean, you're talking to someone here, you're hearing from someone who understands that, because I mean, not a day goes by I don't think about my late wife. Not a day goes by that I don't think about that love that I had and the support that I had and how it's not here. It's been tough. It's been really tough. And so I can tell you right now, making that amends, that love, it's important. It's very important to have that love. And it's very important to show love. You want love, you got to give. I'm serious, you want to get, you got to give, brother. That's how it goes. And this steps down into step 10, which is known as perseverance, because once again, this is going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of harm. It's going to take a lot of shit to get through it. But in step 10, you're admitting your wrongs and your faults. You're admitting where you're not doing too well. Like I mentioned me on relationships, I'm not being as emotionally available because I'm so fucking sad and depressed all the time. I don't want to drag any woman into this or anyone else into my hell. So I'm trying to find my way of being happy alone, and then, seeing where that goes. And I've given the suggestion, and that's the suggestion I'm taking this year, which is don't really look for love. Just do what you do. Do what you love to do, and someone will come along. You know what? I'm going to roll with that. I'm going to roll with that. So let's admit your wrongs. Admit your faults, which once again, it's one of those things where you're making amends with all those people that you've lost there, because that self-discipline, step 8, that self-discipline, they recommend that you even make a list of the people you've harmed. And then you go into that step 9, that love step, and start making those amends, man. And in step 10, you're going to be admitting those wrongs and those faults, which is going to help. And then it leads you down into step 11. So once you've done those steps, which is a lot of like forgiveness and self-love, once you do those, you're going to go into step 11, which is when you start to use some time in your day to really focus and connect with yourself. Now, you can do this through meditation. You can do this through prayer. You can, there's a number of things, right? Maybe you just want to sit back and have yourself, a smoke and a drink like we having right now. But using that time to kind of get your spiritual awareness. That's what they call step 11, is the spiritual awareness. This is now you getting in touch with you, okay? And figuring out, that I do love me, and I do love what I do, and I am a good person, and I'm going to do everything I can to be a good person now. I've made amends with my past. I have asked for forgiveness, forgiven others, forgiven myself, so I can moving forward. And that's when you get on to that step 12 of the 12-step programs. And this is the big one. It's known as, it's kind of a service step, which is to awaken the new you. So let's go through this. You admitted you had a problem. Okay. All right. You believed. All right. So that's honesty, right? You had hope in step 2 that you can help yourself, that you can get this done, or you can find therapy or mental help, physical help, and really get that back on top. And then step 3, you had your faith that you can turn your life over, that you can fix yourself. 4, to have the courage to conduct a personal inventory of your bad behaviors and figure out what's working and what doesn't. Step 5, you have the integrity to admit the nature of your wrongs, that, hey, you did some fucked up shit. You did some shit you shouldn't have done. Have the integrity to admit that. And then 6, you got to have the willingness to be ready to remove those destructive behaviors that you've recognized. In step 7, you got to have the humility to try to install the new practices and eliminate the destructive ones. In step 8, you got to have the self-discipline. So you're going to make a list of the people that you've wronged so you can make it right, which is step 9, showing that love, making amends for those that you've harmed. In step 10, you're going to have the perseverance to admit your wrongs and faults and continue the path to self-betterment. Step 11, you got the spiritual awareness. You're going to take some time every day to focus on yourself, to focus on making yourself better, just really feeling, okay, what is the future and what do I want to do, and picturing that and going towards that goal, which leads you to step 12, which is that step of the service to awaken the new you and get you going in this new world. And hopefully the new you is really going to help folks out. Well, hope you help yourself out. But the fact is that everything you do has an effect on the world around you, okay? If you're a shitty neighbor, that's going to affect your other neighbors, okay? If you're a shitty person at work, you're going to affect everyone you come into contact at work. So it's the same way here. So these 12 steps can be used for a number of things. I mean, it's not just about, like I said, it's usually focused on drug addiction or, in this case, eating disorders. But this can be applied to a couple of different things when you're really trying to go through this next stage in life. I know I'm going through one. I don't want to fucking go through it. I mean, I don't want to fucking... I don't want to fucking be single and dating at 45. Are you fucking kidding me? The statistics of me getting married again are 15%. As an investor, I wouldn't touch that fucking stock with a 10-foot pole. So I've really got the odds against me here. But I'm okay with that because my late wife was a paraplegic. She was in a wheelchair. So the fact that her and I were together, the odds were against us. I mean, we had like a 15 to 20% chance of making it in long-term marriage. And we made it over 20 years. And when people start telling me, oh, well, picture, the perfect woman, I said, you got to understand that shit doesn't work because my wife was not what I pictured. But she was the perfect woman for me. Because I tell you this right now, you find a woman, a good, smart, loyal woman, you hold on to that woman like fucking gold, okay? You treat her, I don't give a fuck, you got to rub feet every fucking night or some shit. Treat her like gold. Because you got something rare. Because I got to say, I'm out here in this dating pool and it fucking sucks. It's a shitty time to be single. Just shitty, okay? Everything is expensive and women are choosing the bear. Which I get, because I would choose the bear too. I mean, but I watch horror films, You see a bear in the woods, that's normal. You see a guy in the woods by himself, that's a serial killer. All right? I mean, I'm just saying, just as a person who watches horror movies, that's where I'm at. But now that we've gone over these 12 steps, think about your life and maybe how you could use them. Maybe they could be effective in helping you get to that next level, man. So we're going to take 5 minutes right now. We're going to take 5 minutes on the clock so you can sit here and ponder over these 12 steps. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, as some of our tarot readers out there say. I get all my life advice from a tarot reader on TikTok and Instagram. I hate to say it, but most of the time the cards are pretty close and accurate, so I'm going to keep watching it. But she always says, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I'm going to say the same. So let's go ahead. I'm going to take 5 minutes to think about these 12 steps and how they can help us in our life and maybe how it can help better us to get to that, like I said, get to that next level that you haven't gotten to yet. That's important to you. So let's go ahead. We'll take those 5 minutes and we'll start that 5 minutes right now. All right, and we're back. Well, I hope y'all were able to take that time to kind of take a little moment for yourself, a little minute there, so you can kind of think of maybe some of these 12 steps have something to them. You know, yeah, I mean, I'm not an alcoholic, or maybe you're not a spiritual person, but these are practical steps that can help. And some of the things in these steps I've preached myself on this podcast. And I've even applied and used in my own life. So, yeah, some of these steps are totally legit and they totally work. As far as like whether or not they all apply to you, that's something that you can evaluate on your own. But I hope in all this freaking craziness that you can use this to kind of help better yourself, better your life, and live the kind of life you want. Because I know that's what I'm trying to do. Day at a time, as I'm basically walking through a living nightmare. It's not easy out there, folks. Sometimes you need all the help you can get. Well, I want to thank you all for tuning in. This has been the Dudeist Journey Podcast. I'm your host, Reverend Phillip K. And I hope when you're out there in that crazy world that you learn to take it easy. Because when you take it easy, the dude abides. Thanks for listening. Hope to see you next time.
From author Reverend Phillip K. comes your next must-read book, Nicholas of Myra, a novel available on Amazon. In Nicholas of Myra, a novel, immerse yourself in the life of the man we all know as Santa Claus. From the loss of his parents to being raised on a farm by his uncle, Nicholas's early life was marked by challenges. His journey led him to the Christian temple in Myra, where he became bishop in a time when Christianity was forbidden in the Roman Empire. Experience Nicholas's profound strength as he faces arrest, persecution, and the unimaginable loss of his loved ones. Despite being tortured and imprisoned, his unshakable faith and his message of love, compassion, and generosity shine as a beacon through the darkness. Nicholas of Myra, a novel, is a journey through history, revealing the roots of Christmas and its traditions. It's a story of faith that endures against all odds. Available in Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. Nicholas of Myra, a novel from author Reverend Phillip K. Order your copy right now and discover the story of a lifetime.